Hello. Who is here with me today in my yoga therapy for improved posture and balance? I'm drinking a little mushroom concoction as I get ready. A lot of information on mushrooms lately. So completely healthy. So I have this little mushroom blend that I was making. So who is here with me today? I like to know who I'm here with. I think I may have mentioned that I was taking off a week, and I'm not sure if this is the week people were thinking because it's the 4th of July week. So, although are people really going out of town? Hi, Rosemary, how are you? Um, Rosemary, do you want to tell me some specific things or issues that you have that you deal with? Because we can make this very custom to your needs. Um, or, of course, if that's not something that you'd like to do, I can also do what I was going to do, which was a spinal unwind, which I know sounds great and it's good for all of us anyway. um, Next week. So, Rosemary, will you let me know? Do you practice with me regularly? I cannot remember um, how I know that you've been in my class before, and I know that I've asked you this before, and I know it, but you've got to bear with me. My mind just doesn't work like it used to. um, Thanks. But do you practice with me regularly? I cannot remember this. Um, I know you do here on YouTube, and yeah, I always do different stuff because Um, I think I'm for me, maintaining the body as we age is so important, and there's so many different aspects to that. Hi, Nancy. Nancy, do you already know if you feel good from the last class? I got up to walk, and it was so bizarre because I only stretched my left psoas. It was really interesting to walk around after that deep stretch on my left side. Um, okay, in New York. Um, So estrogen brought, what are the side effects of that? And do you have limitations in range of motion or any issues? So I'm not sure if you've had any surgeries or areas that you need to be careful moving. And so I'd love to know that as well. Wow. So we've got Louisiana here and New York. This is great. Um, um, Neck issues. Okay. And when you say neck, Lorraine, is this something that you normally, so by the way, for Lorraine and Rosemary, this is how I usually begin my classes, is that I really try to get a feel for what's going on with people, or often when I walk in the room, or if somebody's coming in the room, if I taught a class earlier, they'll come up and explain to me what's going on with them. And that's really great for me because there are so many things that I could do. I have taught for 10 years, and then I have my own issues that I've had in my own body that have, put me into a knowledge base of especially hip issues, and now a lot of spinal stuff that's happening for me with my hip imbalance. And so there's general things that I have going on. And then when people have issues, I like to really hone in or be specific about or at least add if I wasn't thinking of that. And each of my classes had a certain heartbeat to it with whoever showed up and whatever their issues were. So it's just, yeah. And that's the physical perspective of yoga, because this practice of yoga really is at all the layers. It's the us connected to ourselves. It's the mental emotional layer of us. And then Rosemary and Lorraine, I know that I have this in my bio, and then I know that I've mentioned it before. But in the last 5 years, I've had two surgeries, and one of them was a total hip replacement. My first surgery in 2015 was to repair my torn labrum. So when people would come to me in 2015, brand new to yoga, they would walk into the room with me on crutches, not being able to weight bear on my left side, with a cast where I had a band across here where I wasn't able to get flexion, like it would stop me from bending. And that's how they would show up to my yoga class. And then that was a journey for me to figure out that. And then I tried that surgery actually collapsed my joint because he took bone off of my femur and off my acetabulum, or off of my pelvis, actually, probably the edge of the acetabulum, which caused my joint to collapse. So I had a full collapsed hip joint, which is a weight bearing joint, second most weight bearing. The first is the knee. And so even as a 49-year-old, and then in my 50, 51, I was handicapped and had a sticker on my car and could not walk or move much. I gained 25 pounds. And so I was in a place of being broken at that age with all of this knowledge of yoga, studying to become a yoga therapist. And so that's what I teach from. I teach from how valuable it is that this package that we walk around in be strong and healthy, regardless of what issues we have, regardless of what we're going through in life in terms of our physical issues, surgeries, issues, illnesses, whatever. And then the pressures of life, sitting all the time because we're at home. So my goal is to, first of all, raise awareness that yoga is not just a physical practice, because it is the mind, body, soul connection. And then to also realize how important keeping the package is, the physical aspects, and making it doable for those of us that live in aging bodies. I'm in my early 50s. That still is an aging body. And in my classes, people say, yeah, just you wait. You think you're aging, just you wait. So I get it. I know that it's a baby aging body, right? Yet it's not, because of what I had going on. So I think that that injury and that issue made me more like a 70-year-old than it did like a 50-year-old, because I literally stopped living my life. I didn't walk. I hadn't played tennis. None of the things I did. I became very sedentary and very scared. So um, this class, Yoga Therapy for Improved Posture and Balance, I think is so important, because balance and the spinal health is huge. So I think I'm going to take that, since there was no other there weren't any other comments about needs that you have, and I know Lorraine mentioned the neck issue. Um, you stand taller. Yeah. So Nancy was in my class before. Nancy's practiced with me actually from the beginning of me being at Torrance Memorial Hospital for over 6 years. And Nancy has had, I think, 2 hip replacements since I've been with her, and I've had 1. So we've gone through 3 hip replacements together, which is really interesting. Um, and so we have a history, and it's great. And Nancy, yeah, the last class I just did was the pelvic. So let's really focus today too on the spine. Do you all have access to a wall or a piece of furniture? Part of what I'd like to do today is to do some twists, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I would love it if you guys had access to a wall so that we could rotate our trunk and use a wall for support. So either a piece of furniture, this is a piece of furniture, or a wall. I'll probably turn my camera at some point. So before we get ourselves going, if you could have that, that'll be helpful for class today. And then I'm not sure what else I'm going to get, but we'll take time out if you need to go and get some props in your house. Maybe a band, actually. I'd like to do some support of the muscles that support the head. When we talk about, Lorraine had mentioned, I think, neck issues. And this head of ours is about 10 pounds on average. And it's a lot of muscle strength required to hold the head. So depending on what our behaviors are that we do in life, maybe a band or a strap. So if you have a band or if you have a strap, we'll do some of that too. So it's like your hanger. I like to say it's your hanger. We'll work on strengthening the hanger that holds you up, and that'll be really supportive for head and neck issues. Okay, so let's arrive. Let's get our body to arrive, to calibrate. That could be And today I'd like to begin with a spinal movement with a flexion position. So I'm going to give you a couple of different options. I'm not sure what props you have. And then with what you mentioned, Rosemary, I'm wondering how much, and I don't know anything, and this is just something how much chest expansion is okay for you. So you guys are all going to decide what is appropriate opening for you. If you have a bolster, that would be a pretty big opener. I'm going to say this is one of the biggest openers when there's a bolster. Some of the people like it, some don't, and depending on what they have, where their issues are. This right here, this position in the body, this rounding of the upper body and the head forward. I'm exaggerating. I'd like to correct the holding of this in our body. I'd like to get us to be spinally lined up and erect and upright. So the first thing we're going to do is start to open up the muscles that get tight in the pectorals, so the chest muscles, and then the anterior shoulder area. So you're going to decide what's appropriate for you. Here is the option. The option is this, that you can use a bolster. For those of you that have the bolster goes behind, so you can see that my upper back is there. Bolster goes behind the upper body, letting yourself come here. This is one option. And then the other option would be less than this would be a blanket. So if you wanted to have something a little less, you would have a blanket that is folded. And this is good right here behind the bra line area. And that's going to add that extension, support that extension position in the body. And I'm not sure, you have to find where this feels appropriate in your body. Some of you may need something underneath your head and some may not. So come into whatever supported fish pose, supported extension pose, find in your body whatever feels appropriate to you. And come into that, find that in your body. Okay. All right. So find whatever feels appropriate to you in terms of chest expansion, supported fish pose, a way to start getting your postural muscles to relax in the back of the body and then lengthen in the front of the body. That's what we're going for. And closing the eyes. If it's cold where you are, having a blanket covering you would be nice. If when you close your eyes, you can notice any sounds, that's also nice to notice the sounds that exist around you. Bringing yourself from the doing aspect to the being aspect. If your low back bothers you in this, wherever you are, bending the knees can help to soften the opening that is taking place in the body. And depending on how much support you have behind you, you may need to have your knees bent. So it really is very individual. All the movement and what we're doing to the body is very individual according to your needs. So I'm suggesting certain aspects of poses and certain props, and then you need to find what feels appropriate for you and know that you have that ability to customize the practice to your body, to your needs, to this moment. And then let's set that intention that this is time for self-care, to create space in the body to move the energy in the body, whether it's high energy that needs to slow down or low energy that we want to speed up, to safely allow an unblocking where that is necessary. And then to increase our somatic awareness so that we know what's appropriate for our body, what our body, and we can listen to what our body needs. Because this is what we live in, this body. It's not us. If I asked you if you were your arm, you would say, no, I'm not my arm. And if I asked you if you were your foot, you would say, no, I'm not my foot. So in essence, we are not this body. We are not this package that we live in. Yet it is what we're living in, or what we're here in this lifetime. So we need to maintain it. We need to help it function at the maximum functionality so that we can experience life to the fullest in the way that we're meant to experience life. So bring your awareness to your body. Let's begin down at our feet. And let's begin at the left foot, noticing the sole of the foot, wherever it is. If it's on the floor, feel the pressure of the sole pressing into the floor. And if it's free, feel the air on the sole of the foot. Notice if you notice any tingling or any sensations. Bring your awareness up to your left ankle, your left lower leg, the left knee, left thigh, left hip joint. Bringing your awareness to your entire left leg. And then bring your awareness over to the right foot. Notice what you notice. Tips of the toes, the toenails, space between the right toes. The right foot, right ankle, right lower leg, the knee, the thigh, the hip, the entire right leg. Bring your awareness to your tushy. And just notice your tushy. Notice the pressure, where the body weight is, how the tushy feels, how this area of the body is feeling. This area of this package that the enormity that is you lives in. Bring your awareness up your spine, all the way up slowly to your neck. Bring your awareness to your left hand, to the palm, fingers, left wrist, left forearm, left elbow, left upper arm, and the entire left arm, as if you could see it with the eyes closed. All your awareness is there. Bring your awareness now over to the right hand, the right palm, or the fingers curling in, the right fingers, the right wrist, the right forearm, elbow, the upper arm, the entire right arm. Bring your awareness up to the neck, nice long neck, front and back. Bring your awareness to your mouth. Open your mouth wide. Feel that stretch. Close your mouth. Allow your mouth to soften. Feel the jaw release. Feel the jaw soften. Bringing your awareness to your cheeks. Let your cheeks, the facial muscles, relax. Feel them relax. Feel them gently being pulled towards the ground with gravity. Bring your awareness to your eyes. They work so hard all day long for us. Let them go. Let the muscles relax. Let them soften. Taking a few more breaths. See with each breath if you could go up and down your body to notice what you notice, where you notice it. Take one more breath. And then as if you could see yourself from above, like the lining of your body. So you see yourself there. They've actually done studies and they've noticed that there's a photon or a light ray emission around our body, off of our body. We emit beyond this physical package that we're restricted by. I've heard to our cells referred to as a skin encapsulated soul, that the soul is contained in this, encapsulated by skin, the largest organ in the body, living, breathing, absorbing, protecting. Take one more breath. Bringing your awareness to your extremities, to your fingers and to your toes. See if you can articulate each finger, each joint in each finger, and then each toe. Then do whatever you need to do, whatever feels right for you, closing your eyes. Move the body in the way that feels appropriate for the body to be moved. Maybe it'll let you know, and maybe you need to find out. Just see what feels appropriate. And then let's bend our knees, rolling onto your right side. Now, depending on how much you were adding extension into the spine, you may need to move a little slow if you were moving a lot, if you were adding a lot with the bolster. So come onto the side, preferably all the way off the props, so that you can let your spine go into a neutral position without being affected by props. Then let's take the hand and let's push yourself up to a seated position. And then let's take, I'm thinking, trying to debate on where I want us to begin today. I'm assuming that you all have a chair. And I think I want to come up and do quite a bit of work in a chair today, because I like to really focus on the upper body and on the rotation. So we are going to do that. Let's just do a little bit on the floor first. So bring your blanket underneath your knees. Bring your blanket underneath your knees. I'd like you to just do a little bit of crawling forward and back. So you could stay pretty linear with this if you'd like. And then just notice the wrists here. For those of you that have wrist issues, keep your hands pretty forward of your body so that most of your weight is in the knees and the lower body. If you have issues on your wrists, if you don't, stack your wrists directly underneath your elbows, directly underneath your shoulders. This is actually going to strengthen the wrist joint. This helps to settle almost all the joints in the body. And it's how we began our adventures on earth, crawling. So I find it very fascinating that I think that some of the most therapeutic stuff we can do today is some of the stuff we did originally when we first started walking and moving, which is the moving from a baby position, coming all the way back onto your blanket. Bring yourself up for a second. Now, one thing I'd like to say, I'm not sure if any of you have wrist issues because that's not been told to me here. You may. Very important to strengthen this part of our body. Very important. It's the most precarious, number one broken place in the body because whenever somebody is falling, there's a protection to try to break the fall or stop the fall. So the wrist area is number one broken area in the body. Pinky toe, number one broken bone. Wrist area, number one broken area. So walking on all fours, even myself, I have pretty strong hands, pretty strong forearms because I practice a lot of yoga in my teaching and then in my own practice. And flexion for me, I'm in flexion quite often, which is this angle here. But for those of you that aren't used to doing that, and then and when we're not used to doing it, and then we try, there's discomfort. So we shy away even more. So we lose that range of motion and that strength. Really important to try to maintain strength in the wrist area. So the crawling on all fours, my teacher in India was just taught me this 2 months ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, that almost every single joint in the body is realigned when we are on all fours. It deeply sets the hip joint deep in the socket, which is nice and therapeutic, taking it away from that front area, which is where most of the arthritic involvement and degeneration takes place. Shoulder joint deeply puts the shoulders back. So talking about head and neck issues, Lorraine, I believe it was Lorraine that said that. And it might not have been, sorry, but whoever, and many people have that. Having to hold your head up against gravity like this, in and of itself, is strengthening the upper back and neck. So there's just a lot of therapeutic value to crawling, which sounds so silly, yet so primitive and so beneficial. So what I'd like to say is please don't stop doing a movement because it's uncomfortable. Notice what the range of discomfort is. Be a little bit in the uncomfortable because you can get yourself out of uncomfortable if you play with it a little and work with it a little. Okay, so that was my stuff there. All right, let's have a block handy. We're going to come onto the floor before we get up onto the chair. The muscles of the upper back and neck, doing some lifting away from the floor work can be really therapeutic to strengthen the upper back muscles. And I'd like to have you get a block because we're going to use a block for this. Now, I think I may have mentioned the hanger analogy that I like to use. If you had a robe and you took a robe and you put it on a hook on the wall, the robe would be in a pretty linear fashion on the wall. It's the same thing with us. Our body can be soft and everything can be collapsing inward towards the center, and we would be very linear in our presentation. If you take a hanger and you put a robe on the hanger and you open up the top part of the robe, you actually see the shape of the robe. And it's the same thing with us. We can go from this hanger this being on a hook to being on a hanger, where you actually see your form. And so we're going to strengthen the muscles like the hanger muscles. Let's take our block. We're going to do a dolphin plank. And I've been doing plank for 1 minute in my entire virtual life of teaching, which has been ever since March 17th. So for, I think, 12 weeks, maybe longer than 12 weeks now. So we're going to do a 1 minute plank, which may be a challenge for many. And we're going to come into it from a modification. If you don't have a block, see how my elbows are block distance? That's what I really think is important. When you're on the floor in dolphin, having your elbows here so they're underneath your shoulders as opposed to here. When the elbows are here, it allows the chest to collapse. And when the elbows are here, it's more stabilizing for the shoulder girdle, which helps to strengthen the postural muscles of the upper torso. So it is important to have the elbows, and this is a perfect distance if you have a block. So if you do not have a block, try to visualize this block and have your arms block distance. Bringing your body forward, flip your toes under. This is the modification of the dolphin. So you could be here the whole time for the whole minute, keeping yourself here. Or if you'd like, you can bring your knees off the floor. A little much more intense when the knees are off the floor. So do what's appropriate for you, pressing the forearms into the floor, the elbows into the floor. And then if you do have a block, really press the pointer fingers into the block, and you may actually feel muscles turning on. When we press inward like that, there's support structures that turn on. And then bring your awareness all the way down to your feet. Make sure your pinky toes are touching. Make sure all the toes are touching if your knees are off. And then wherever you are, whether your knees are on or off, contract your core, push your belly button up towards your spine. Feel as if a puppeteer is holding a string on your lower back and your lower back is being lifted up towards the sky. So lift the lower back up towards the sky, push your hands into the floor, push your knees, your feet or your knees into the floor, lift away from the floor, and then go ahead and bring yourself down. So that was 1 minute. Maybe some of you did that. Maybe some of you were in the modification, and just notice that feeling of all of that strength in your body. Bring your pelvis so your pelvis is on top of a blanket so you protect your hip joints. That plank position works a lot of muscles. And I began today talking about the importance of keeping the package that contains you strong. So it's a really great pose. Definitely ground your mental energy in your body because it demands so much of you, because it is a challenge. And so that's a really great way also, when you have your mental energy really high, to actually ground the mental energy to this moment. Coming into what's called Sphinx pose. The elbows are underneath the shoulders. And then you're going to try to lift your lower ribs and your entire rib cage away from the floor. So with length in the body and lifting away from the floor. And then can you soften your pelvic area? So this can help to realign the lumbar spine. There's a stretch on the lower abdominal area, feeling where the low ribs are, and then the attachment, the tissue that attaches the low ribs down to the pubic bone in the front of the torso. Then having to hold your head up like this is strengthening that hanger, those upper back muscles. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Bring yourself forward. We're going to come to a little lower position. You're going to take your arms out to the side, take your hands and support your head. Let the heel of your hand support your chin or your jaw. So let the entire palm be on your jaw, and then let your elbows be out to the side and let your elbows be forward. So I learned this in India, and they teach this. They say that this helps to realign the lumbar spine. And so when we talk about posture and alignment, there's 26 bones in the spine. 2 of them are embedded in the pelvis, and then the lower back is 5, the lumbar spine. And if you look at a spine, the lumbar spine are the largest bones. This is the part of the body for stability, for structure. So the lumbar spine is affected by what happens above and what happens below. So let's try to realign this part of our spine here, holding on to the weight of your head. So let your head go and hold onto your head with your hands. And then let's take the hands on the floor. So you're going to take your hands on the floor. One is on top of the other. We're strengthening the upper back. So I'd like you to think about the muscles that are on the back of your body, that are along the right where your neck and your upper back attached, starting there, and then all the way down your spine to the very top edge of your pelvis. Think about that part of your body, the whole back. All right. Forehead goes onto the back of the hands. Nose is pointing down towards the ground, and the back neck is nice and long. So bring your awareness to the back neck. See that it's long. Inhale,
to lift the head up towards the sky. Let it be the nape of the neck. So think about a mama cat where she grabs her kitten, which is at the neck, the nape of the neck to lift it up. So it's not the middle of the head that's lifting up. It's the nape of the neck, the upper back where the neck attaches to the back. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. See if you could go slow, be in your body, and feel the muscles of the back working as they contract to lift you up away from the floor. Inhale to rise. Exhale to lower. Inhale, rise. Exhale, lower. One more. You're going to inhale to rise and stay there. Stay there. Lengthen out the top of the head. The nose is pointing straight down towards the ground. The upper back is strengthening. Don't let the shoulders move up towards the ears. And then lower all the way down. Take your hands out to the side. So we're going to do a few stages of this extension work in the spine and strengthening the extensors of the spine. These muscles are all along the spine from where the sacrum is, all the way up the spine to right where the neck is, and then all the way up to the skull. Let the forehead be on the ground, the arms are alongside the body. As you inhale, let it be like the mama kitten is lifting you up. You're going to feel the muscle work going a little farther down your back here. Keep your tushy soft. Let this be all back work and go slow. Go into the place in your range of motion of comfort. You could press your arms into the floor if you'd like. You're going to inhale. Let those muscles on your back contract. They're getting shorter to lift you up. Notice if you feel equal on both sides. Exhale to lower. Inhale to rise. Notice where you feel this. On your next one, you're going to come up and stay up. Stay here. Reach out the crown of the head. Let it be the upper back that's lifting up. Let your back and neck be nice and long. Let your tushy be soft. Feel that strength in the back as the back muscles fire up to lift your body up away from the floor against gravity. Inhale, and then exhale to lower. Take your hands, widen your hands so the thumbs are on the mat, just the thumbs. The thumbs are on the mat and all the fingers are off. And then your elbows staying at your side of your body. So the things that I notice here that people do is they let their elbows go up in the sky. And that's not what we're doing. So we're letting our elbows, remember that dance, the chicken dance, and the elbows go close to your body when you make the chicken. Hopefully you guys all remember, and hopefully some of you were there laughing. But that chicken dance where the elbows are in at the body, that's what you're going to do. So you're going to take your hands, the thumbs are on the mat, the fingers are off. Press the palms into the floor strongly. You're going to feel muscles inside your body turning on when you do that. Press the hands down and at the same time, pull them back towards your foot part of your mat. And then as you inhale, you, as it like a turtle coming out of the shell, you reach forward and up. And then you exhale to lower. Try to keep the tushy soft. Let this just be the erector muscle group of the back. Push the hands down. Reach yourself long like you're a turtle coming out of the shell. Your gaze can go forward. Your head can go a little higher here. Doing a lot deeper work here as we work through this cobra pose. Press your feet into the floor. Soften your tushy. Reach your head forward as you let your back muscles lift you up. One more time. Feel this in your back. Go slow, be in your back so you feel this working. Come up and stay up. Stay here. And then if you'd like to take your hands off to see if your body lowers, if it does lower, go back down to where it lowers. And then let it be the muscles of the back. Push your hands into the floor, reaching or pushing your heart forward. So really add extension to that spine. Push your heart forward. Let the tips of the shoulder blades push the heart forward. Take one more breath. And then exhale to lower. Turn your head to the right. So the left cheek and the left ear are touching the floor. Let your hands go down alongside your body. Palms are up. So the thumbs are touching your body. Palms are up. the left ear and the left cheek are touching the floor. And if this is stretching your neck, if it feels uncomfortable, slide your right hand out to the side and then let the right palm go down to the floor. So only if you feel too much tension and you need to move out of it should you do that. If you feel okay with your head, try to get the ear to touch and the cheek. This is stretching the neck muscles. You can let your shoulders round forward if you'd like. Breathe down to your belly. Feel your lower belly stretch. One more breath. Breathing down to your belly. Let your low back release. You're going to tuck your chin down towards your chest. Pick your head up. And let your right ear and right cheek touch the floor, turning your head to the left. If you're feeling a lot of tension, you could take your left hand out to the left, palm is on the ground, and even if it still needs more relief, you can bend your elbow. So just notice what you need here. Letting your shoulders round forward, taking deep breaths down to your belly. Take one more big breath. And then bring yourself back to that cobra where you fold your hands, you put your forehead on top of your hands, bend your knees, and let's do a little windshield wiper action with the legs. This can release a little bit of the tension that's in the low back. And actually take your legs pretty wide here. So move the top thigh bone so you have some width in your body here. And then take the legs so the legs go out to the sides and then they come back into center. I'll tell you, this is a trip when you have a hip replacement because the neuromuscular communication, if you think about it, it's a ceramic ball inside of a vitamin E infused polyurethane cup, which is then set inside of metal, titanium. So yeah, you've got all the muscles around it still, but they're the neuromuscular communication, so it actually flops. So I have less control over my left leg than I do over my right when I do this. So it's releasing the hip. So I know that it's doing something with the hip because I feel that. Bring yourself back to center, bring your legs back to a neutral position. Take your right arm overhead and roll onto your right side. Let's take the hands on the mat. You're going to lead with your left shoulder as you bring yourself up.
So I'm going really slow because I think that when you develop interoception or body awareness, it is so key to you maintaining this package of yours for the rest of your life, wherever you are, whatever's going on in your body. And when we can have strength in our body and feel that we have balance and that we have postural alignment, it's really such a lovely thing to have. Because I lost it when I was 51, because I lost so much about this body before my hip replacement. I really value that. I value, and then I see where I came from, where what I had to build back up in my own body. So that slow series that we just did there, that sequence of the erector muscle group of the spine, I know that I feel it in my body. I hope I'm able to convey it and teach it in a way that you experience it that way, and that I give you enough visuals so you actually think about the musculature on the spine contracting to lift you up and then releasing to let you down. When you had your head to the side, we were on our tummies, and I said, put your head all the way to the side and have your cheek and your ear touch. That stretches the upper back and neck. And then for some of you, I said that if there was too much tension, you needed to put your arm out to the side. So in order to have a break in our body from all the sitting we're doing, and especially if you are having your head forward often, being on your tummy like that is really nice and relaxing for the work that the back has to do to hold this head up on your body. And when you lie flat on the ground like that, it allows flexion to come into the shoulders in a passive manner without muscles being involved. And when we put our head to the side like that, we can get some deep stretching in the upper back and neck. So for some of you, you may have experienced a lot of tension there, which is why I gave you that safety valve to take the hand out to the side. So if you can, and it's also a great way to ground your mental energy when you're really stressed, depressed, caught up in stuff, when things are getting to you, whatever that is, being on the belly is a lovely way to ground your mental energy into your body and then to feel your belly pressing into the floor. Okay. So that little sequence right there had a lot of therapeutic value that I needed to make sure you got. I'd like us to try to come up through a downward dog, which is going to stretch the posterior chain, the whole back body. This may be a challenge because I don't know all of you in your practice. I know some of you that are here. I know some of you will have no trouble with this, and some of you do struggle. So you're going to take your arms wide, take your feet pretty wide. The body weight goes back first, and then you push your knees off the floor. You could keep your knees pretty bent here, and you could be in a really short stance, or you can come into a more wide stance, depending on what your ability is. Then you're going to take one foot at a time, and it's called walking the dog as you try to press the outer edge of the heel towards the floor and then press both heels towards the floor. Pushing your body weight back towards your feet. Feel the back body stretch. Take one more breath. And then you're going to bend your knees. You're going to walk your hands back. Take your hands one at a time. Keep your back flat. Your weight is on your feet. And then you're slowly, slowly going to bring yourselves up. For those of you that that's too crazy for some of you it may be too crazy. So if you're standing up, go ahead and stay standing. But for those of you that that's too intense, and that's okay if that's you coming up, a safe way to come up from the floor, allowing the calibration of the blood pressure in the body, the fluids to go where they need to go. And depending on your age, your issues, and the medications you're on, and your level of hydration, all of that affects blood pressure and how quickly your body can calibrate. So a safe way of getting up from the floor is like this. You're in that, we were on the belly. Now we're going to come here. My head is above my heart. I'm going to let this calibrate. And then bringing yourself to a standing position like this is a nice, safe way to get up from the floor. Okay, so because there's some of you here I've never met, I don't know what your ability is. I'll turn this here so we can go over. Oops, that's my light to make sure that everything is seen. Okay. So I'm going to do this so that we can be over near that wall. Okay. All right. So I'd like you to have a chair. One of these days, it'd be really nice to do a Zoom call so that I can meet you all, those that I don't know that are here with me, so that I can get a feel for where you are. When I teach and I know who's in my class, then I teach to the ability of who's in my class. And so some of the directions that I'm giving are because there's some people I know that have more difficulty with certain things, and then I can teach and give modifications. And so that's always a good thing for me to have that. So let's come onto the chair. And then I did ask you to get a band or a strap because I'd like to continue with the work we're doing. I'm going to move this plant. I know it's a nice plant, but I think it could be distracting visually because I want you to be able to see the movement of my body here. Okay, so such a weird angle. It looks so weird to me to be in this position. But anyway, here we are. Okay, so come onto the chair, and then whatever you're going to get, whether that's a band or a strap. That's my basket. See, I have my basket of goodies here. I always tell people to have a space where they practice yoga. So I've got my meditation cushion, I've got my egg block for my neck, I've got tennis balls that I use for taking knots out of muscles. I've got a weighted bag. This is a sandbag. I can't remember how heavy it is, but let's say around 10 pounds. And this is for restorative yoga. I've got blankets in there. And then for those of you that have wrist issues, I was telling you earlier about the flexion of the wrist. These are really great little things, little wedges. If you get a little wedge, you can minimize the flexion of your wrist, because I think it's really important that we maintain movement in our wrist. Okay, so come here. We're gonna continue working on our hanger, the hanger that holds you up, which is the musculature of the back of the body. So you're gonna take your band, or you're gonna take a blanket from your, a belt from your closet, the strap off of your robe, whatever you're gonna take, so that you can come into a really, really wide position here, bringing your arms forward and back. And try not to bend the elbows. So that's important, is that you try not to bend the elbows when you come back, so that you can really stretch the musculature of the chest, the shoulder area, and of course, only if that's appropriate for you. So see what's appropriate depending on where you may have issues in this area, where really stretching may be appropriate or not. So just notice where you are. And this is shoulder joint. This is range of motion, the shoulders, the head and neck tension was mentioned here. So just trying to free up some of that as well. If you do this enough times, you'll start to feel heat in certain areas of the muscles that are really being used. Go ahead and bring yourself forward for a second. Let's take a break. And that's what muscular action, the contraction, feels like, is heat. Just giving ourselves a little break here in between. So we're going to work on muscles that actually bring the shoulder blades towards each other. And what happens is that over time, and depending on what happens to our posture, when this starts to happen to our posture, of course, I'm accentuating, when this starts to happen, the shoulder blades are supposed to live on the back of the body, and they start to round forward. So we're going to strengthen the muscles in between the shoulder blades that help to draw the shoulder blades back towards each other. Take your strap or your band, whatever it is you're going to really pull on it with tension, and then bring your arms above your head. Inhale to bring the arms above, and exhale to lower. So you're going behind your head, and you're going to try not to graze the strap or the band alongside your head. So you have to push your arms back. You have to keep the muscles and the shoulder blades on the back of the body. That can be a challenge. Feel that shaky, shaky, shaky. Inhaling to rise. And exhale to lower. You should feel heat right around now, or maybe you felt it already. Stay with me. Try to stay here. Stay here, and then pulling out on that strap or the band, really pulling. Maybe there's shaking going on. Feel those shoulder blades sliding towards each other. Push your chest forward. Make sure the strap is not alongside your head. So push it back, and then lengthen your head, lengthen your spine, as if a puppeteer was bringing length into your body. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. So I feel that pretty strongly. I'm hoping you do as well. Let's bring the shoulders forward. Let's bring the shoulders up. Let's bring the shoulders back. And let's bring the shoulders down. Forward, up, back, and down. And then let's do that twist that I came over to the wall for. So I'd like you to have access to a wall or a piece of furniture. So even hopefully you can hear me even if you need to move to a different place in your room, because I'd like us to use the wall for the rotation. So coming right up against the wall, we're going to take the body, not so you're about elbow distance from the wall. You're not all the way up, but you're about elbow distance. And then you're going to take your hands in front of you. So your shoulder blades are on the back of the body. So don't let the shoulder blades round forward. Shoulder blades are on the back of the body. And then the rotation takes place from lower ribs on up. So as you lengthen, 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 feel yourself lengthen, and then rotate, 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 rotate to the wall. So you get one hand onto the wall and the other. And you have your arms lower than shoulder height. Yes, lower than shoulder height. And you press your palms into the wall so that you could get tall, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, and then the direction you're rotating in, really push on that hand. Push on that hand so you get the nice rotation. Push your heart forward. Push your head back on top of your spine. Keep your knees straight ahead. Deep breaths down to your belly. Take one more breath. And then let's exhale, bring yourself out of that. We're going to go to the other side. So you're going to need to move your chair. I guess my back will have to be to you. Unless I go to that side. No, let's just do this. Okay. So go ahead, have a seat on your chair. Get your hands up. Your hands are, maybe this is good to be able to see all angles. Let your arms be shoulder height. Make sure you're only one elbow distance away. You're going to lengthen your body as you rotate, rotate from the lower ribs on over. Let one hand go on the wall. Let the other hand go on the wall. Nice and tall in your body. And it's the hand on the wall of the rotation that the direction you're moving into that presses into the wall the most to bring in that rotation. Rotating the spine causes a lot of stimulation for bone growth. So feel this in your body. Feel that rotation occurring from the lower rib cage on up. Press your belly button to your spine. Push your feet into the floor, adding a little extra protection to the body, turning on the back of the body to help support that low back. You can let your head go in the same direction that you're rotating in. Take one more breath. And then slowly, slowly bring yourself out. Okay, we're gonna do a little standing version of that twist. So we're gonna bring that rotation into the trunk when we're standing, which is going to be strengthening for the hip joint and then also good for balance, for postural alignment, and for that whole somatic awareness of the body. So in order to get up from a chair, you're going to bring your feet closer to the chair than the knees, or you could come into a wide stance. You're going to let your body weight go back, and then your body weight goes forward. You could press your hands into the floor, into your knees, push your heels into the floor, and then bring yourself up. All right. Never did this way, so let's see how this works. I'm wondering if I should do this. All right, bear with me. Never did this before. I'm going to do this. All right, so there you see more of my room. Still hear me, I think. Yes. Perfect. Okay. So you are going to take your chair to face you. And it's going to be it's going to be the leg closest to the wall that we're going to use. You're going to take your elbow up against the wall. You're going to be close to your chair. Look down at your feet. Feet are pointing straight ahead. Then you're going to bring the leg that's the closest to the wall onto the chair. If you need to hold onto your wall, hold onto your wall. What I want you to make sure is that you have your ankle underneath your knee joint. So don't have your knee forward. And that's what usually happens is knee forward. So you might need to walk your foot forward on your chair. Take your hands in front of you, lower the shoulders. Inhale, get nice and tall, and then rotate, rotate, rotate towards the wall, putting your hand on the wall. If you find that you're too far away, I feel a little too far away, I'm going to stand closer, bringing myself into this tall. So I push into my leg, get nice and tall, rotate, rotate, rotate towards the wall, hand is on the wall. Deep breaths here to your belly. Lengthen out the crown of your head. Feel that stretch in the body. Feel that balance aspect. Put your body weight onto your standing leg. So make sure your weight's on your standing leg. Take one more breath. And then you're going to exhale, bring yourself forward, bring yourself out. We're going to go to the other side. Take the chair over. So I think sometime I'm going to shoot my videos like this and use this wall. Then I would need to know if you all had a wall, because I really like to be near a wall for a lot of the stuff I mean, there's many different things. That's one of the places I'd like to be, is near the wall. Okay. Take your elbow, maybe not quite elbow distance. Elbow distance didn't work for me on the other side, but not too much closer. So when I say elbow distance, that means this. Here's the elbow. You're standing that distance away from the wall. Feet are pointing straight underneath the chair. It's the leg that's closest to the wall that's going to come up onto the chair. And then you're going to take the leg and walk the leg forward. Let your body weight be on that standing leg. Push your foot into the floor. Get nice and tall. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Hands are up in front of your chest. And then from the lower ribs, so rotation occurs, 80% of it happens right here, thoracolumbar joint, right at where the low back meets the middle back. And then the rotation, continue that rotation up the thoracic spine. Hands are in front of you. Lengthen and rotate from the lower ribs on up. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Putting your hands on the wall. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Slide the shoulder blades towards each other. Push the heart forward. Make sure you lower your shoulders and then add that rotation. It's the hand closest to the wall in the direction you're rotating in that does a lot of the rotational force. Find what's appropriate. Push your body weight back onto your standing leg. Push your belly button back towards your spine. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Take one more breath. And then exhale, go ahead and bring yourself out of that. Let's do tree pose, because we don't stand up often in this class, and I'd like to do tree pose. You have the wall for support. Tree pose to challenge the balance in the body, keeping the toes pointing forward. Let's take the body weight to the left side. This is my left side. It may look like it's my right, but it really is my left. Take your weight on your left foot. Bring your right knee out. Bring your right knee to the side. Bring your right foot in between your knee and your ankle. And then bring your arms up. And hopefully you stay close to your wall. Staying close to your wall will be nice and supportive. Then really push that big toe into the floor. And then the whole perimeter of that left foot to lift that arch off the floor. Feel that, and even push that right leg into that left leg into that right foot to feel that support, contracting the core, lifting tall. Feel your hanger, the back muscles contracting to help hold you up here. Put your head on top of your spine. Keep the chin parallel to the floor. This is another great pose to find balance, to find that proper alignment in the body that will support balance. Take one more breath. And then bring your knee back to center. Let's bring your leg out. Take that leg and shake. And then let's come to the other side. Bring your body weight over to the other leg. Come on to the tippy toes. Let the knee go out to the side. Pick the foot up in between the knee and the ankle. Bring the arms up to the side. Bring your awareness to the foot where everything begins. Push pinky toe, all the toes, big toe especially. Whole pinky toe edge, 2 heel points. Lift that arch off, lift that energy up into the leg, to the pelvis, contract the core. Lift your body, slide the shoulder blades towards the spine. Use the lower shoulders to press the heart forward. Lower shoulders, make sure you're not wearing shoulder earrings. Strengthening your hanger. Push your left foot into your right leg into your left foot, left leg to the left, and then go ahead and come down. Stay back by the wall for a second. Find your sacrum, the bone that's in the pelvis, the end of your spine. Find that sacrum on the wall. Find your spine on the wall. Bring your arms out to the side. Try to press the middle of your head into the wall with the chin parallel. And then come into scarecrow arms if you can, with the backs of the hands on the wall, the elbows. Really press the elbows into the wall, press the backs of the hands into the wall. It's a really good gauge here for how much alignment you have in your body, how much you need to work on. Press the back of the elbows, press the back of the hands. I'm going to tell you that many of the students in my classes cannot touch the head to the wall in this position, cannot touch the elbows and the backs of the hands to the wall. Okay, so if you find that your hands are away from the wall, that your elbows are near, that's okay. You might need to work towards finding this in your body, and all of the yoga you're practicing with me will help to get you to that place. Take one more breath. So this is a good thing to do throughout your day to help strengthen your hanger, strengthen your alignment muscles. And then go ahead and bring yourself down. So hopefully your back was talking to you on that. You were feeling some heat in your back when we were doing that, because that's your spine, your alignment muscles. All right, I'm pretty sure that is, you're close. Yep, time for Shavasana. Let's go onto the floor. I definitely feel the tension created today in my upper back and neck area. And I know that we started today with someone saying they had tension there, but if we do strengthen this whole hanger aspect of us, we can help to mitigate or minimize that discomfort in the body when we're not practicing yoga. So we're doing this to strengthen and to get everything to help support the weight of this head on top of the torso. All right, it's time to come down into the Shavasana pose. Legs up the wall, if you want to stay near the wall, would be good. Or I have a chair here that I'm going to put my legs up the chair, so that's another option to really let that low back relax to the floor, let the weight of the legs go. You could bring your knees into the chest if you'd like to soften that low back. If you find the need there, let the legs go onto the chair, let the legs relax. Bring the head onto the blanket. Bringing your awareness to your breath, letting all of that integrate into your body, all that work.
Gently begin to deepen the breath. Start to wiggle your fingers, your toes, rolling your ankles, your wrists, moving your body in whichever way feels good so you can eventually find yourself in a ball position with your knees in at your chest and flexion position on the floor, which helps to flex lower torso. Usually it's the upper torso that's in that flexion position. And then roll on to your right side. Bringing yourself up to a seated position, leading with your shoulder.
We're going to close the practice with sound, using the sound like the letter M, bringing the hands together, letting the thumbs touch the sternum bone. The practice of yoga is the ability for you to connect to you, staying in your moments, connecting your breath with movement, and then working on this package that you live in so that it can be flowing, unobstructed, balancing the energetics on all aspects of you. Let's take a deep breath down to our belly. At the end of the practice, we bow to each other and say namaste. Namaste. Which means that the divine or the light that exists in me recognizes and honors that same divine light that's in you. Thank you so much for joining me. Um, not sure if I mentioned this. The hospital that I teach at, our schedule is that I teach 8 weeks on, and then I have 1 week off. So I usually teach at, it seems dark to me, Torrance Memorial in Southern California in the pre-pandemic era when we actually used to practice with each other in person. And so usually next week would be my whole week off, and I haven't taken a week off since March 17th. So I'm going to take a week off so I can work on some of my online programs I'm creating. And I will be teaching a Zoom call next week for the hospital. And that's actually a free class being offered by Torrance Memorial. And I have the Zoom link for that. So if any of you that are not used to practicing with me here in Southern California and you won't be getting an email from the hospital, if you could email me independently, Debbie at DebbieRobinson.com, DEBI at DEBIRobinson.com, and I'll send you a link for that Zoom call. You'll need to download Zoom, and then I'll actually be able to see you. And it would be really nice for me to see what your range of motion is, what your ability is, so that when you're here with me in class, it'll be really nice for me to direct when I know who is there. And you'll also get to see everyone else that you practice with. So Athena's here with us often. She's my ballerina friend that got her certification in yoga therapy with me. Nancy, who's been practicing with me, my hipster sister, because we have hip replacements, has been practicing with me since 2014. So it'd be really great for us to see each other, for me to see you, for me to direct accordingly. So that'll be next Thursday, the 9th, and the following Thursday, the 16th, from 9:30 to 10:45, I will be teaching a yoga for stress reduction, I believe. Yoga therapy for stress reduction. So if you'd like me to give you the link to that, if you send me an email, Debbie at DebbieRobinson.com, I can send you that link. So next week, there will be no live classes. I have probably 60 recorded classes, and you're more than welcome to do that. Always feel free to email me, get in touch with me. And yeah. Hi, Kathy. Nice to see you. Um, you're welcome, Athena. Nancy, wall twists. Yeah, those are good, right? Um, all right. So thank you as always for joining me, those of you that are here with me. And like if you like, give a thumbs up. There's a little thumb guy you could choose. Subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. Share this with anyone you think may benefit. And I will see you tomorrow. I have 2 classes. Yoga for osteoporosis, which is my stronger class. We do a lot of standing poses and stronger work there. Not that there wasn't strength in here. And then balance is tomorrow, which is usually a more mellow and a slower pace, kind of like this. And then Saturday is yoga for stress reduction. So anyway, thank you. Let me see. You're welcome, Lorraine. Thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have a great day. What's today? Wednesday. Huh? All right. I will see you in another class. All right. Thank you. Bye.